Okay.
Have you noticed that it's been really warm?
Okay. So, yeah, warm autumn. But the thing that I think everybody in arguably the world, but definitely Northern Europe, should be aware of is AMOC. And I don't think anyone even understands
Disaster scenario.
Emily, you know what AMOC is?
As in amok.
AMOC. No,
No.
as in the Atlantic Meridional, I can't remember,
Overturning.
overturning current.
Yes.
It is what keeps Europe from not being Canada, because we are on the same latitude
Yes.
and we're warmer.
And the bits that are like Canada, Northern Scandinavia, Eastern Europe, are only like Canada because they don't get AMOC.
They don't get AMOC. So AMOC is the warm water. It's not the Gulf Stream. People think it's the Gulf Stream. It's not. Gulf Stream is air. AMOC is actually the sea. It is the movement of warm water from the South Atlantic to the North Atlantic and round and back down again. And it's essentially a radiator.
Energy tends to want to be the same temperature everywhere. So hot stuff tends to go towards cold stuff. And basically you've got cold fresh water at the top of the planet and warm salty water at the bottom, which is more dense. And they move around each other to try and even each other out, both in terms of density and temperature. And this moves trillions of tons of warm water.
A huge amount of energy.
Which even if it's only 1 degree centigrade different, is an enormous amount of energy being moved from a warm central region up to a cool northern region.
And what it means is I think it's about 10 degrees average difference. We are hotter by 10 degrees. So if we are 23, 24 degrees on a nice summer's day here, we'd be 14.
Yes.
In the winter, and today it's 7 degrees in the morning.
Yeah.
So it would be -3.
So
it's a big difference.
Yeah.
Now the problem, as we know, but I think everybody needs to know this, is the AMOC is slowing down. It's not like some scientific thing of people going, oh well, this could be a risk. It is slowing down today, and there are lots of complicated reasons. One of the main things is the melt of fresh water from the Greenland ice sheet, which is running up, 10 million tons an hour or something insane,
It's ridiculous.
into the North Atlantic,
Yep.
is slowing the AMOC. So there's a guy called, I think he's called Stefan Ramsdorf, something like that, very famous scientist who's spent his entire career studying AMOC. And he is now saying there is a 50% chance of AMOC stopping in the 2030s. So it's that is bad. So AMOC stops, the temperatures in Europe drop by 10 degrees. So our entire civilization has to change. You're probably talking massive migration. Yeah, funny enough, day after tomorrow is AMOC.
It's the same thing. It happened more slowly. We would then go in line with Canada and talking about energy. Canada is one of the largest per head consumers of energy on the planet because they basically live in a frozen wilderness.
Yeah, completely. And because they produce
You're talking about the North Sea freezing. You're talking about ice down, sheets of ice off the beaches. You're talking about a totally different environment to what we have now.
And ironically, of course, it would lead to a massive need for increased energy in Europe for heating, which, okay, there are technologies to do it in those temperatures, but it would probably lead to a lot more gas being
It would probably mean opening the coal mines up again is what they'd end up doing, because it's quick and easy to do and it's dirty and nobody cares.
Are the whales back in danger as well?
I don't think the whales are back in danger.
No, the whales like cold water.
I think I'd be moving to Spain.
Yeah. But then AMOC is going to do in reverse what the sub-Saharan Africa rain pattern change is going to be doing. Lots of people are heading north on the planet at the moment because the south is being hammered.
But you get both at the same time?
So we'll end up with both at the same time and everybody will have to live in Spain.
But how in the name of all that is holy is this not a major political discussion? This is not. We went through the Cold War. What was the risk of nuclear Armageddon?
In reality, quite small.
In reality, quite small. Okay, but even if even with all of the propaganda, it was still less than 50-50, right?
Yeah.
We've got the expert on this going, it's 50-50 whether this continues and civilization in Northern Europe
Within one person's lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah. And absolute 100% certainty in probably 2 to 3 people's lifetimes. So your grandchildren or great-grandchildren will face a different climate to what we have now.
I mean, it's happened before. This is not
No,
a theoretical
yeah,
thing. This
yeah.
has happened multiple times in
They've
in human history.
Yeah. And the thing is that this change has happened basically for the same reasons that it's happening now. The only difference is we have caused the change rather than geological problems. Normally it's been down to things like volcanoes and whatever, causing decades-long nuclear winters, which flips the climate and then it becomes like self-feeding.
Yeah, I think the fastest change in temperatures, global temperatures, took about 50,000 years.
Yeah.
And we're doing it in about 200.
Which is pretty quick.
Which is pretty quick.
That's about the difference between your mum using a walker down to the co-op and a AAA fuel dragster in geological terms. That is really quick.
Yeah. It's again, the way I think about the energy transition is, on the one hand, I get super depressed about the science, which is getting worse all the time. It's one of the reasons that we do this, to try and get the message out there.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I see the amazing technology, which we talk about a lot, and how humans can solve problems. But in the middle of those is, how quick can we do it? And there's something we need to get into at some point, which is the behavioral science. We know we've got a problem.
Yep.
We know we've got the solutions, but we are not moving fast enough to put those two things together.
The annoying thing is, for me as an engineer, is that we have for a number of decades now had all of the technical solutions tested, tried, fully understood to solve this problem. But there's never been the will to do it. And it is about the will to do it, because where there has been a will, there's always been a way. You've got a situation where even should AMOC flip, and we might have to wait another 5,000 years for it to flip the other way, we could cover a totally unoccupied area of North Africa, desert, with solar panels, and terraform it, by the way, because when you put solar panels in really hot areas, water forms underneath because of the shading and everything else. So you'd actually be turning North Africa green while supplying energy through dirty great cables into Europe.
It's actually, there is a large solar farm in the Gobi Desert that's done that. Huge Chinese solar farm in Inner Mongolia, and it's created agriculture in a place that wasn't, and they've started to farm that. Particularly, it's goats under the panels because of exactly that: condensation, water, grass, goats.
So I was explaining this a short while ago. The BBC were kind enough to invite me to make some comment on some new solar farms. And I was trying to explain to a particular listener that in other parts of the world, they grow crops and graze sheep and do all sorts of things under solar panels, and that solar panels actually don't affect the land in any way. You can actually conduct your business underneath them if you want to. If you want to pay a little bit extra, put them higher, and obviously protect the cables from the sheep nibbling them. But it's a very non-intrusive way of changing the output of the countryside. And I think that, looking at a major potential disaster like flipping the AMOC is something that we need to be addressing now, because if it's slowing down, it's progressing at a geological rate in terms of change, but it's slowing down so quickly it starts to become almost at a society rate. We've gone from nothing to where we are now in 10,000 years. We want to look at trying to change things as quickly as we can. Don't want to sound doom-laden, because we'll deal with the problem, but it is something we could potentially avoid.
Well, you say we'll deal with the problem. We'll deal with the consequences,
Yeah.
and we'll continue living. But
it's probably too late to change the AMOC flip, because that's going to happen at some point in the next 150 years anyway.
Ew.
Yeah. Ooh. And I think on that bombshell.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, told you that's a
But
Duma
people
one.
do live in Canada.